Hi there, this is Dr. Paul Firnhaber. It's Wednesday and time for another 10 minutes of truth. Got another article here as usual, and this is out of the Journal of Human Development and Capabilities, July 20th of this year. So it's a very, very recent article. The name of this article is Protecting the Developing Mind in a Digital Age, a Global Policy Imperative. And the object of this study was to assess the magnitude and nature of developmental consequences of a child's mind owning a smartphone on the mental health in young adults. The Global Mind Project is a large-scale data acquisition project that tracks and analyzes the evolving landscape of mind health and well-being of the internet-enabled world. So there's some key points from this article. The global rise in smartphone and social media use has dramatically reshaped childhood and adolescence with algorithmically engineered digital environments increasingly influencing young people's capabilities and functionings. Generation Z, born between 1997 and 2012, are the first cohort to grow up with smartphones and social media from early childhood. Now, some of the concerns with this, according to this article, are this. Machine learning algorithms embedded within social media platforms actively curate and amplify largely unregulated content to maximize user engagement. This can result in the displacement and disruption of key developmental activities such as in-person interaction and sleep, while exposing young users to a vast and often harmful digital landscape of developmentally inappropriate content, including pornography, deepfakes, violent material, and extreme ideologies. One striking finding from the project is the decrease in mind health and well-being of each successively younger age group. These AI-powered systems strategically exploit behavioral data and psychological vulnerabilities, potentially constraining children's agency by eroding autonomy, diminished decision-making capacity, and encouraging social comparison. So what they're saying basically is that kids are not designed, their minds are not mature enough, and their thinking is not capable of deciphering the enormous amount of information and AI influencing that goes on in social media. And I'll tell you one thing for sure, my mind certainly wasn't mature enough to handle that when I was growing up. I can tell you that. And what they're saying is this is really affecting the minds and the capabilities of young children. So it says today 41% of 18 to 34-year-olds struggle with symptoms of diminished functioning that significantly impair their daily life. And what they're saying is that this is due to growing up in the digital age with smartphones. The specific symptoms that most strongly correlate with a younger age of smartphone ownership, and what they mean by younger age is they draw the line at 13. They're basically saying that no kid should really own a smartphone under the age of 13. They're saying the specific symptoms that correlate the younger age of smartphone ownership include suicidal thoughts, aggression, feelings of being detached from reality, and hallucinations. Suicidal thoughts show the steepest change, where 48% of females age 18 to 24 who acquired a smartphone at the age of 5 or 6 report suicidal thoughts. So about half the women Age 18 to 24 who got a smartphone when they were 5 or 6 struggle with suicidal thoughts, compared to 28% who acquired a smartphone at age 13. Among males, it's less. The corresponding figures are 31% struggle with suicidal thoughts that got a smartphone at age 5 or 6, and 20% at the age of 13, respectively. 68% of the negative impacts associated with poor family relationships and 63% of the negative impacts associated with cyberbullying are downstream of age of first social media account. So giving a smartphone to a young child is very bad. Very, very bad on their mental health, according to this article. The most prominent finding is that for those who acquired their smartphone below the age of 13, their overall mind health and well-being is progressively lower with each younger age of first smartphone ownership. Owning a smartphone below the age of 13 results in earlier age of social media access and correspondingly greater probabilities of experiencing cyberbullying, sexual abuse, diminished family bonds, and disrupted sleep. When such exposure occurs at an age when sense of self, sexual maturity, and worldly understanding are still forming, young users are particularly susceptible to their damaging effects. Specific functionings that are significantly diminished in individuals who acquired a smartphone at a younger age include self-image, self-worth, and confidence, emotional resilience among females, and stability and calmness, self-image, self-worth, and empathy among males. So the rest of the article goes on to say, and rightly so, that maybe we need to regulate this in young kids just like we regulate tobacco, alcohol, and motor vehicle operation. That we should do the same with smartphones because children are they're just not able to handle this emotionally. And that we should have laws in place that prevent young children from owning smartphones. And I think it's a good idea. In fact, they were even talking about maybe even raising it from the age of 13 to the age of 15. And I think that's a good idea. So the last thing that I want to say is under their recommendations, they say we propose the implementation of a developmentally appropriate society-wide policy approach similar to those regulating access to alcohol and tobacco that restricts smartphone and social media access for children under 13, mandates digital literacy education, and enforces corporate accountability. So, if you look at it, if parents buy alcohol for minors, they're minor kids, they can get in a lot of trouble. If stores sell alcohol to minors, they can get in a lot of trouble. Well, what they're essentially saying is that this shouldn't be any different for smartphones because of how damaging they can be for young kids. And I think there's a lot of validity to what they're saying here. So the obvious point of the article is that children under 13 should really not own a smartphone. They shouldn't have access to one. And so you can take this for what it's worth. I don't have kids or grandkids. Wish I did, but I don't. But for those of you who do, this is a very powerful argument for not letting kids own smartphones. And I hope that everyone out there thinks about this. So that's all we have today for 10 Minutes of Truth. This is Dr. Paul Firnhaber here at Lincoln Disc and Nutrition in Lincoln, Nebraska. And if you'd like to consult us on anything, our phone number is 402-488-2220. We'd be glad to talk to you. I'll see you next week.